Welcome to Synchronicity. This episode is getting in right under the gun, right before I like to put them out on Thursdays. I'm in the Bahamas. It's fucking beautiful. This is a pretty good pandemic. The pandemic's been pretty good to me, I gotta say. Wear the masks, get it where you need to go. Don't let it hinder you in what you're trying to do. We don't need to get into the whole. Do we want to start with the whole vaccine conversation? Let's not. Let's skip that this episode. Can you believe it is the name of the episode? That's the whole trick, right? What are you capable of believing? What can you believe true of yourself? What's possible? How expansive can you get in your conception of what you are, what reality is? What is this? Is it really a matrix? Is it really a game? Is it really a kind of simulation? What is it? Who knows? That's for you to figure out. That's the kind of beauty of everything that's going on in the world. So that's the name of the episode. Let's get right to it. First things first, Ned. Love these guys. CBD, full spectrum hemp oil. They're fucking awesome. Go check out all their stuff. So check out all their stuff. How about you go check out all of their stuff at helloned.com. Use the code SYNC, SYNC at checkout. You get 15% off all of your orders. I like their chapstick. I'm now in, perfect, blissfully. I sound like an asshole, don't I? I'm aware of that when I say I'm in the Bahamas having like a dream vacation in the middle of a pandemic. How that may not be where you are right now, but just here's the trick. Imagine yourself in a place like this and see what happens. I didn't plan this out. I mean, we planned it the past like few weeks, but it wasn't like specifically planned out before that. But clearly, somewhere deep down, I imagined myself. I think I took the Neville Goddard thing a little too seriously when Abdullah told him, "Imagine yourself in Barbados. You're in Barbados. You're in the Bahamas. You're wherever you want to be." Anyway, Ned, helloned.com. Go check them out. Sync, SYNC. Use the code 15% off. Love those guys. They're the fucking coolest. Rhett and Adrian. Go check out the episode I recorded with them. I know they say that every time because some people might not know. You can really get a sense for who they are and what they're doing as a company. They're just cool fucking people. Okay, on to the episode. Crypto, I just have written down notes. At first, I was like, I don't know, I don't have anything to say. I'm just relaxing by the beach. This brings me to one point, even before we get to the crypto stuff. Enjoy the moment when you've achieved the thing you've been planning for or knew that it was going to happen. And then when you're in the moment, just enjoy it. Don't freak out. Don't figure out what you're going to do when it's gone. Oh, it's going too fast. Blah, blah. No, just enjoy it. You'll find your experiences that you can kind of relax into and have more of when you take that type of approach. Don't try to squeeze everything out or worry about what happens when it falls to your hand, whether that's money, an experience, a relationship. Just don't do it. It's better. Better not to. Crypto, it's just been fucking insane. I know for the few of you now who probably don't give any shits, um, sorry, but we're talking about it a little bit. Elon Musk, just said that Bitcoin, they did 1.5 billion buy in Bitcoin in January. Thank you, Elon. That's nice. Pump my bags. It's going to be a theme for 2021. A lot of people in the server are really getting engaged. This is my only shout out for the episode. Join the Patreon, patreon.com Synchronicity. You get access to the Discord server. You can hate the Patreon and everything else you get into it, and you can leave after a month if you want. Any tier, the lowest. Patreon's also cool. We do tarot stuff and other fun things there, live streams, whatnot. But anyway, crypto's been fucking insane. This year, it will continue to be insane. You can say, how the fuck is this guy continuing to make ridiculous predictions, and then by some weird fucking annoying way, is he right a lot? And I recognize it's no one likes to be like, told you so, I told you so. Just, I'm only telling you because you can confidently invest in most of the things I'm going to be speaking about, because I just, at a certain point, you look into stuff enough and you have a degree of faith and confidence in what you're putting your money into. This is not an invitation to just go recklessly ape into whatever, someone's saying, but it's a good time. Just go get involved with the community of people who want to see you win. What I really think underpinning most of this is there has to be a transfer of wealth in a system that was relatively unequal and kind of centralized and bottlenecked and gatekeeper like, that has to move to a more decentralized platform that reflects kind of how people think and engage, whether that's via the internet or just in social life. It's just, it's more reflective of what we're actually doing here, which is basically reaffirms the point that inner reflects outer, or outer reflects inner. So as we should see the systems and conceptions of ourselves begin to change accordingly. So that's fun. Okay. I'm still listening to this Joseph Murphy book. I haven't, because I've been traveling, but in the car, I'm loving it. Uh, it's The Power of Your Subconscious. Is that what it's called? I fucking butcher the name. Let me look. Hold on. It's a really good book. It's like 65 hours of content. The Miracle Power of Your Mind. Really good. Again, this is for people who maybe want to take. There is some like biblical kind of religiosity type stuff, but obviously all its allegories, as most of the stuff from the Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy stuff is, but it's pretty clinical. It's more scientific. I think it's called, like, he doesn't call it prayer, he calls it like scientific thinking. So it's nice if you're kind of more analytical, logical, um, you know, that type of energy. I think you might find it maybe more palatable than the Neville Goddard stuff. But if you don't like the Neville Goddard stuff, I have some bad news. We're going to be doing a lot of that today because that's what we're going. Uh, One thing I do want to say about all this stuff, because it's important to recognize that if we're talking about a principle or a law that says whatever you feel you deserve, whatever you truly believe of yourself and the world, you will get back, that doesn't imply any moral kind of uh, structure in and of itself, right? That doesn't mean, well, this can only be a good thing or it can only be a bad thing. It means that it's neutral. And this is truly, if you look at your life, you recognize how what we label good, bad, black, white, yes, no, it's subjective, right? This isn't stuff that, we can mutually agree that something is despicable, but it doesn't inherently mean that that act is universally despicable. And this can get philosophers and people like to intellectualize this stuff down in the weeds for a really long time. The point is that anytime you're imagining something, it doesn't mean you have to use it in kind of a harmonious way. What I would suggest is use it in a harmonious way. Always go for the ultimate harmony. Use this kind of tool or prayer or law lovingly. That will tend to bring the best results. If you can always baseline to that viewpoint, you're probably going to have an easier time navigating reality and recognizing what awareness and consciousness is, just because you're going to be more clear-headed about things. Usually when we're operating from a place of kind of trying to manipulate or control, it's fear-based. And I know this is just kind of a trope at this point and a platitude, but when you're operating from a fear-based perspective, it's going to be harder to see actually what's going on. It's a very defensive, kind of on guard position. And it's not that there's never a time to be kind of cautious or wary. But if that's your default, it's going to be harder to kind of get a sense of what it is that you want and what other people around you are capable of or deserving of. So just use it lovingly. With that said, we're going to get into a bunch of Neville Goddard stuff today because, it's fucking good. First thing, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Do not try to change people. They're only messengers telling you who you are. Revalue yourself and they will confirm the change. This is maybe one of the most important life lessons you're going to learn in life, is that you literally can't change anyone else. What you can do is change what you believe about yourself and what you believe and how other people treat you, what you're deserving of, what, kind of relationship relative to respect or kind of how you want people to view you, that you can change. Again, the ultimate kind of power control here isn't that you necessarily change external circumstances just because you think it immediately and then everything conforms to the way you want. There's an element of time there. There's an element of kind of like generating or like the seed germinating and sprouting to show up. That could be a second, that could be 5 minutes, that could be 5 years. That's up to your kind of conviction and faith, but you'll see that as an operative mechanism the more you kind of use this as time goes on. The main thing, though, that you always have control of is how you react, how you feel, and what you kind of determine that you believe about yourself, right? If you believe you're the type of person who reacts, uh, angrily and upset and this bothers you and people are always fucking you over, like, you will absolutely see evidence of that in your life. And you can call it confirmation bias. You can call it just like a recognition of pattern. And objectively, you're totally right. But subjectively, you have the power to kind of change that. I don't say to do this as kind of like, this is the only way. It just means play around with these ideas. If you're in a state where you're consistently um, down on yourself, you feel that you're not capable or deserving of good things, Just try to change that. It doesn't have to be aggressively. You can say every day, I'm getting a little bit better at understanding that I'm deserving of a lot. That's like a very kind of what I would say, if you're really having trouble changing your conception of yourself, that's like the lowest level you can start at. You're giving a lot of wiggle room for your subconscious to kind of not reject, which is, you know, maybe you're not, loving every aspect of yourself right now. Maybe you're not feeling the most confident, or you're not capable of doing everything you want to be doing, but maybe you got a little bit better every day, just a little teeny bit. That's something usually that won't be rejected full sell by your subconscious, by the thing that actually creates what you want. So that's how you begin to chip away at your conception of yourself. Once you get to a place where you feel pretty confident with a lot of these things, don't get overly confident. Trust me, most people will humble themselves pretty quickly. I don't say the universe, I don't say external factors, I say people themselves, because that's ultimately what's going on. But like, if you get overconfident, start acting like a cocky bastard, most people can't hold that without having some type of self judgment seep in, because no one like purely likes a cocky bastard all the time. There's a way to do it and remain kind of playful and cool about it. And I think we've seen that. I look at like someone like Muhammad Ali. There's no one cockier than him in the history of sports. Just the things he said and the way he said them. But there was a levity to it. There was kind of a humor to it, and he kind of knew that even if he fully believed that he was the best and the greatest, the way he was presenting it was kind of entertaining in a way. So if you can do that for yourself, eventually it's not going to be overly difficult to self-identify with like a pretty awesome version of yourself, no matter what is going on. You don't command things to appear by your words or loud affirmations. Such vain repetition is more often than not confirming the opposite. Decreeing is ever done in consciousness. That is, every person is conscious of being that which they have decreed themselves to be. Okay, let's unpack this one. The first thing is, this is like for the mantra people or the affirmation people or the people who think that just by repeating something over and over and over again, whether out loud or internally, is going to actually change something. If it's just kind of a repetitive motion that there's no thought into, there's no feeling involved, you're not really doing anything. It's like you're kind of just playing a loop on a movie that you're never kind of getting the message of what's going on underneath it. You're just kind of looking at the images scroll across the screen. But if you can actually identify and feel yourself to be, feeling is faith. It's that simple, right? There's this awesome thing. Faith is feeling, right? According to your faith, your feeling, be it unto you. Right? You're incapable of attracting that what you want, but always what you are, right? If you feel like you want something and you just don't have it, you're not capable of having it, there's a distance implied there, and you're not actually it. But if you're like, oh, I think I have that. I think that's something I'm allowed to have. I think I have it. Feels like I have it, even if you don't not imaginally, even if you don't explicitly see it in your world. Just play around with that. That's all I'll say. These are the easy. Now, I want to point something out. I spoke about this with Jessa on her Patreon. Go check that out. Subscribe to Jessa. Shout out to Jessa. I know she's going through some health shit. She'll be aight. But something we're talking about, if you're not capable of kind of getting to the point where you immediately feel that this is possible, don't force it. Don't just say to yourself, well, I'm rich, I'm healthy, I'm happy. You actually have to feel the state. A trick is one of these imaginal techniques where you actually visualize and kind of put yourself from within your own perspective into a scenario that implies it is done. That's kind of like it's like greasing the wheels. It's like, let's say your car won't start and the engine won't start, but sometimes when you push it, you can actually get the engine started because the wheels start moving. These are for old cars. I don't know if new cars work like this. But anyway, that's something you used to be able to do. You got to give it a boost, right? You kind of got to push it along and let it go, or at least rolling down a hill. So anyway, that's basically what you have to do. You're greasing the wheels when you're not immediately affirming this is what's going on, right? If you just try to start it without that, it's probably not going to work. Okay, so I lost my place. I also took an edible. It's pretty good, I gotta say. Bahamas are nice, guys. You should definitely check it out. Awake to the power that you are, not as man, but as your true self. A faceless, formless awareness, and free yourself from your self-imposed prison. This one's cool. And if you do enough psychedelics or do any psychedelics, you probably realize this pretty quickly. You're not exactly your body. Like, you are your body, but you're kind of contained. Your body is contained in a broader awareness, and that is what you actually are. And there isn't any actual physicality to it. You can tell this when you're kind of drifting off to sleep and you shut down most of your senses and you're going inside internally. We usually are not aware of this process, but there's still a conception of self up into the moment where you lose consciousness. And even then, in dreams and other places, we maintain a localized central point of awareness, usually, that can be moved around. That's way more accurate of a description of what you actually are as a being than whatever you call yourself and whatever you see in the mirror. Now, that doesn't mean it should be like a horrifying kind of like, oh my God, I'm not real. You're totally real. It's not a problem. It's fun. It's cool. Don't deny that you have some aspect of realness in this world. But ultimately, you have this kind of limitless, expansive awareness that can move outside of your body through time, back in time, forward in time, however you want to do it, and access different states of consciousness. From there, you should pretty much at some point be able to find a version of yourself that feels pretty comfortable, pretty good, pretty relaxed. And it's not that you stay in that state all the time. You move through different states constantly. And as you're doing that, you get more accustomed to what each one feels like. You get the benefits. You see the kind of pitfalls. You see what you like. You see what you don't like. And luckily, everyone's not the same. They have different spectrums of what they appreciate in awareness. That's awesome. You've probably done that in your own life. Sometimes you like something, sometimes you hated something in your life, and now you like it, now you hate that. It's just how it works. No big deal. Have a good time doing it. But when you awake to that actual power, not as a limited kind of conception of who you are, oh, I'm stuck, I'm bound to this. This sucks. I feel like this is a shitty thing. That's it's just not so cool, I would say. It's more fun to recognize kind of as this limitless creative power. And then integrating those two, I think, is where the real joy comes in, because you have this ability to kind of recognize yourself as more than what you appear to be. And then you get to play around with that. And that's when, you can move into kind of godlike versions of yourself. You are at this very moment drawing into your world that which you are now conscious of being. We do this constantly. This is why ultimately there is no manifestation, right? This thing we like to conceive of and call manifestation. You identify something you want, something that that would be cool, and then you do it and you imagine it. You do it in the perfect way and it happens. I'm in the middle of this right now. It's fucking amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. But ultimately, all you're ever doing is drawing into your world all that which you're available and able to believe. Can you believe it? That's the whole thing. We're doing it all the time. Now, if you find yourself and you wake up and you're in unpleasant circumstances and you're not comfortable, I highly recommend using these principles, using the ability to kind of internally go in and change your narrative and conception of self, control your mental diet in a way that you only really imagine loving and beautiful things for yourself. This may come with some irritating kind of smoothing out of our rough edges, which is one thing. And you can still be like, notice things and fucking point shit out, but like ultimately you have to, you kind of do. You really have to be very forgiving of yourself and other people. It becomes harder to kind of blame external circumstances, people, situations for your life circumstances or your reactions to life circumstances. And this is totally annoying. I totally spazzed out first thing in the morning on an amazing vacation because bank bullshit. They didn't deposit my mobile check. The irony of me having more money than I've ever had and fucking check bouncing for rent is not lost on me. But I totally lost my shit. I was like fucking pissed off in paradise. That's a good name for something. Pissed off in paradise. But I was totally pissed off in paradise. And it was like, luckily I have an amazing partner. And it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of me being a doofus. But like, it shows you that it's not about actually where you are externally. It's what you're reacting to internally. And when you find that you have this lever that you can kind of pull and how you navigate through things, that's comforting and helpful, especially when you're going through kind of terrain or seas that are rocky and or difficult. So that's kind of the truth with that one. And you're always doing this. So when you can kind of internally smooth that out and take the controls, you tend to get experiences that feel more pleasurable and comfortable in a nice way and in a stable way, I would say. Not kind of like a quick shot of adrenaline that kind of wears off, but like a stable, calm, like, all right, this is good. I enjoy this. All right, this one I like. This is a Bible thing. Do not be Lot's wife, who looks back and becomes salted or preserved in the dead past. Be a Lot who does not look back, but who keeps your vision focused upon the promised land, the thing desired. This is like, you don't look at past patterns that condemn you to a future state. If you continue to do that, you'll forever be bound by what those patterns are. But if you can keep your vision and your internal kind of awareness focused on something that you feel you're capable of, that you ultimately are deserving of, ideally live from the end where it's actually already happened, use that as a singular focus, you'll be surprised at what can be done. You'll be doing things that are likely considered impossible, or at least unlikely in other people's eyes. But when you can actually recognize that their conceptions of you and what's possible, societies, what Joseph Murphy would call the race mind, which is just kind of our inherent cultural kind of belief and programming and societal belief, when you disregard that and internally kind of claim that which it is you desire to be, or your desire, uh, see how things work. But if you go back and look at the past continuously as affirmations or confirmations that something is going to happen, you're just kind of condemning yourself to that lived reality. And that's, again, do you like it? Do you not? I don't know. Be still. This is here's one that's I'm not going to disagree, but I'm going to say that you can look at this one in a couple ways. Be still, least action, and know that you are that which you desire to be. The end of longing should be being. Translate your dream into being. This is perfect advice, but if you have difficulty believing that just by feeling that you have that which you desire, that feels wrong. This is kind of like jumping from level 1 to level 8 or 9 out of 10. Trying to process the idea of least action can be difficult. Now, this doesn't mean, like, let's say you imagine yourself creating an amazing piece of art. It doesn't mean you sit back and literally don't do shit and the art's just going to manifest itself in front of your face. It's going to be conjured up out of nothing. But what it does mean is that if you really can feel that this piece of art is already done, you've already created it, you will be compelled to take the action naturally. You won't have to do much of anything, but you will naturally be put on the path. Circumstances will arise that allow you to kind of take the necessary action to do it. So it's like, it's not that you don't take no action, it's you take the easiest path, kind of like water flowing down a stream. It's going to find the least path of the path of least resistance. That's the term I'm looking for. That's what's going to naturally happen. So being still naturally is a conduit for that type of action to emerge. Whereas if you kind of have to feel you go in and out and, oh, was that the right thing, or should I do this, or should I do that, or I'm waiting for this to happen, that tends to be in push away energy. Doesn't have to be. Sometimes we have such faith and conviction that even our best attempts, this is classic me, by the way, sometimes my best attempts to fuck things up, even those don't work. And I think something that I've done is that I've just recognized the objective state of luck and grace that operates in my life and around me. It's just so stupidly objective that I just subjectively have accepted it kind of permanently. And you will get to a point where you give yourself enough signs, which always follow a change in consciousness. You'll give yourself enough signs that you'll be like, all right, this is just something that this is the way it works. Or you'll notice a lot of people when they find out about all this imaginal stuff is they'll be like, I think I've been doing this my whole life. Or I do think something that's just like that. It's like, of course you do, because everyone is. It's how it always works. But again, least action. If you feel like you're the type of person who you have to work hard for every penny you get, you have to work hard or you're not going to get noticed, or you have to be this type of person, put in a lot of effort, it's going to probably be difficult, the concept of least action, but it is still nevertheless an operative principle. So hedging my bets on that one. Imagination is the very gateway of reality. This is a great way of kind of conceptualizing what we're doing here. Our interfacing of what we call reality, which is this meshing of our internal awareness and external kind of out here-ness, is the gateway to that is our imagination. And where we limit or kind of expand ourselves is a constant reflection of what we're going to be getting. One of the reasons I say we're on the best timeline is I live in a reality where we're constantly expanding our awareness. That seems to be that we're moving to a higher frequency of kind of love and harmony and grace. Is fucking love and light as that sounds, it seems to be what's going on. I don't know. Maybe I died 20 years ago when I had a crazy episode and I moved to a different reality and everything worked out. Maybe this is just a delusion. Who the fuck knows? I don't care. I'm pretty sure I know how it works. When I start to kind of love myself and love everything around me more, things tend to work out. I don't know. So it doesn't feel wrong. Just know that this is kind of the gateway of how we interface with external reality. Internal first, external second. Don't spend your thoughts, your time, and your money. Stop thinking of it like that. Everything in life must be an investment. Just think of it like you're investing your time, you're investing your money, you're investing your thoughts, you're investing your feelings, you're investing in all of these things. They'll pay dividends over time. It's just a subtle little thing to think about. Not spending anything, you're investing it. It'll circulate, it'll come back. It's great. You'll love it. Truth depends upon the intensity of imagination, not upon facts, right? This is an important one. This is probably going to rub a fair number of people the wrong way. Truth should be clearly objective, right? That's right, that's wrong. This is a fact. That means it's true. That's not actually how things work. Sorry. I wish it was, but it's not. It actually depends on your intensity of your imagination, your feeling, your conviction, your faith. This can be insufferably annoying to hear in the face of something we believe to be true that someone else doesn't believe to be true, especially if there's all the objective facts. I think about the vaccine and the virus and all of these things. It's such a hotbed because some people are 100% sure you absolutely need to get vaccinated. You're insane if you don't. And then some people believe 100% you should not. It's the most dangerous thing you should do. There's no reason to do it. It's a scam. There's so many other better options. Why wouldn't you do it? And they believe that. That should show you, if nothing else, it's not that one side is 100% right. It's literally not how it works. Not how anything works ever in life, but especially not for something as contentious and kind of malleable as this. I'm not going to give my personal stance on the vaccine. Yeah, sure I will. I'm not into it. I'm not going to get the vaccine. I don't know. It just seems weird that there would only be this many options for handling a virus in life. Feels like probably not just the vaccine. Not encouraging people not to get vaccinated. Don't want to piss people off. Maybe not the only way. Who knows? Let's just say. But anyway, it's the intensity of your imagination that determines what happens, not upon facts. Kind of annoying, but definitely true. If you have a goal, although it's unseen, it already exists. This is kind of fits in with the narrative that we're all dead. Everything has already happened. We pull it from a limitless, infinite spectrum of possibility. We pull it from there. We project it into the space. That's kind of what we do as beings. It seems in this earth realm, that's our favorite thing to do. I love it. It seems fun. Pick the ones you like. It's like if you were going and looking, you could pick any movie or any video game, whatever you wanted to play. Don't pick the ones you fucking hate. Seems like a stupid thing to do. Seems like not a fun thing to do. I wouldn't do that. Pick the ones you like. Maybe you can pick a shitty one and make fun of it sometimes. That's fun. No big deal. But I mean, for the most part, just pick the stuff you actually like to watch. And there's an infinite array of things you would like to watch. That's what life is. That's what you're doing. Pick the ones you like. It's pretty cool. Okay. To reach a higher level of being, you must assume a higher concept of yourself. You need to imagine yourself as someone who really is capable of doing amazing things, if that's what you desire. You need to imagine yourself someone who is completely capable of loving themselves fully. That's it. Just imagine yourself doing that. Just target what that feeling would be like. Assume it, live from it, see what happens. That sounds difficult. Scale up to it. Imagine yourself as someone who just doesn't think you're a complete piece of shit all the time. You can allow yourself to be a piece of shit and have that conception of yourself, but not in a way that kind of binds you to a bad person. Don't do that. Not worth it. Remember that time you figured everything out? There was that time. Do you remember it? When was it? Is that now? I think it might have been. Was it in the past? Was it in the future? Just do you remember the time you figured everything out and you were like, oh, this is how I always thought it was going to be. I knew it was like this. That's it. We're doing a short episode. I thought about putting ocean waves up and out onto this up and out. What? Onto this episode, but I fucked up the XY on the Zoom. We'll do some for next week. Stay cool, guys. Have a good time. Matt, do this trick. Do the Bahamas trick. Do the Barbados trick. Where would you like to be? You're there. Go to sleep at night knowing you're there. See how long it takes you to get there. Let me know. Get in touch. The emails still come in every week. I'm lucky in the sense that I get to see confirmation of the imaginal techniques or whatever you want to call them in operation almost every day, many times a week, of people being like, holy shit, I can't believe this worked. How did it happen? What the fuck? So I get to see it. You may not see it. I'm in a very lucky and fortunate position. I get that. It's my true privilege in life to be able to be aware of that and know that it's continuously coming in. It's a great validation, validator. That's a weird. Remember those commercials that was like, what was it? Refrigerator Raider. Ding, 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 ding. 90s kids will know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you're cool. Things are great. You're going to love it. If you have questions, you can pop into the Patreon, ask them there. We do a Q&A every week. Every week? I'm just literally making shit up at this point. Every month we do a Q&A. Great place to ask questions about this stuff. Tell me that I'm wrong. That's it. We're good. I did it. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you guys. Fucking nailed it. Until next week, happy imagining.